Placed you automatically at the bottom of society. Enslaved people could not own anything. They could not marry and have a normal family life. You did not have your own culture, your identity, not even your own name. You were no longer a human being, but you were a commodity, and you were treated as such. The enslaved Africans suffered a great deal, also in a place such as Suriname. Their living conditions were extremely hard, and the fear of death or punishment was always near. Also in my home country, Suriname, many atrocities took place in the name of profit and the crown. Suriname was a colony of the Netherlands, founded in the 17th century by the Dutch traders. They built many plantations alongside the Suriname River. And for the hard work on their confiscated lands, they were looking for free labor in Africa. That is how our African ancestors ended up in the Americas. The European colonizers transformed the existing slave trade into a lucrative business that became the foundation for a society based on class and color. The lighter you were, the higher your class. The darker you were, the lower your class. So nowadays, we call it racism, we can call it colorism, and we can also call it a crime against humanity. Can we go to the next slide? But not everybody accepted this fate for the enslaved people. From the beginning, there was also a lot of resistance. Not only from the abolitionists, but also from the slaves themselves. Now the ones who were strong and brave enough fought their masters and fled into the jungle of Suriname, where they organized and trained themselves to wage a war against the colonizers. They are known as the Maroons. So that is where our ambassador comes in. One of the biggest freedom fighters was Boni, born out of an enslaved woman who ran away in the 18th century, and I'm pretty sure you will hear more about him. This form of resistance plus economic downfall led eventually to the abolishment of slavery on Wednesday, July 1st in 1863. And in the capital of Paramaribo today, we have the statue of Kweku that reminds us of that day. So the person, I don't know if you can see clearly, the statue here that is in the city center of Paramaribo is called Kweku, because the abolishment of slavery took place on a Wednesday, the 1st of July, 1863. That's already the first clue that I'm giving you about the Ghanaian roots in Suriname. However, after the ending of the slave trade, the exploitation of the Dutch colonizers continued. But now in other parts of the world, such as India, China, and Indonesia, cheap workers were recruited and brought to Suriname to do the hard labor on the land. And they were also very much mistreated. So that is why many of us in Suriname also have Asian genes. Meanwhile, in the rainforest, the Maroons built their own settlements as free people with their own African languages and cultures. It became a melting pot of these African languages and cultures. And this is now the moment that I will pass on the microphone to the person that we've all been waiting for. She's one of our Caribbean mothers, born in Mungo in Suriname. She belongs to the Maroons, and she did significant social work for the women of her community, setting up their own network. She has a master's degree in sociology. She was the first among her people, right? First among your people. From 2007 to 2015, she was a diplomat in Trinidad and Tobago. And since 2 years, she has been with us in Ghana as the ambassador of Suriname for Africa. I feel honored and blessed to welcome her up here, Her Excellency, Madame H.E.Fidelia Graan-Galon.
Well, I would say, Medase pa. And if you think I know Medase from Ghana when I came, it's a lie. It's a 400-year inheritance. So we still say Medase in my country. And yes, I'm getting goosebumps. My name is Fidelia. I was born in Mungo. Yes, please. I was born in Mungo. Mungo was a village that was created by Maroons. And in 1919, the Americans got permission from the colonial leaders to mine bauxite in Mungo. And then they relocated the Maroons that were there for hundreds of years to another place. And Mungo is not Mungo, is Mongo. That is how the Maroons call it. But because of the Dutch, they say Mungo. So they've changed the name. But it's just because she mentioned where I was born. And I did live in a small village called Happy Land. Happy Land was a composition of small villages near Mongo. And when Alcoa came, some people came close for work. And they brought in a lot of people from other regions in Suriname. And Mungo, or Mungo, as my people would say, because when I say Mungo, they will say, you play as if you are a Dutch person, you're higher up. So they want me to say Mungo, because you need to stay pure. And my story, I will cut it short, because in Mungo, it is, I call it an apartheid city. Why? You have the staff village, and then you have the village for the laborers, and you have the village for the second class, and you have the village for the third class, and the first class, that is the staff village where we were not allowed to go to. In my later years, when I first started school, not in Mungo, but at a small village near Mungo, made especially for Maroon and indigenous people. So the level of education was way lower than the level of education in Mongo or even in Paramaribo. So that is where I started. And as a Maroon person, where do I belong to? What's the name of the tribe I come from? When I came to Ghana, I found out that it belongs to one tribe here in Ghana. I was like, come on, you steal it from me. I thought we created it. So my tribe, the name of the tribe is in the east. So Mungo is in the east. But my forefathers, they came closer to the coast where Mungo is, so they can sell their products and do their agriculture. So the tribe name that I carry is Okanisi. Okansi. I'm an Okanisi woman. That's the name of my tribe. And I hear it's a God name. I thought I was an Ashanti woman. Because I heard the Ashanti are the fearless one. So because the Maroons are the fearless one, I'm an Ashanti. Right? But when I came to Ghana, I found out the name of Okanisi belongs to the God. And then I learned that the paramount chief, the king of each tribe, the name is Gaman. And Gamanche is in the Ga region. So don't ask me what the position of a Gaman is. It's the same as the tribal leader of the Ga. The same protocol. My Gaman, his name is from the north, Bono. Right? So right now I can call Gaman Bono Filanti. Right? He is my traditional leader for life. So they come out of, we have the matrilineal system. So I make all the kings and the queens. Right? So they call it Mama Bear. Right? You make the kings, you make the chiefs. But at the royal level, there are only two. There were only two sisters. And these sisters, they give the king, the Gaman, to my tribe. So I can never be a king or a queen, nor my son, because I don't belong to that clan. So we also have a clan system. And then I learned, when I came here, that my paternal clan is in the north of Ghana. I heard it's a Ewe name. And she looks like a Ewe woman from Ajua, Majo. That was my mommy's name. When I call my daddy's name, I hear he's from the west of Ghana, from Enzima. That's what they told me. So the names Afi, Afiba, Bisato. My father was Bisato and we were calling, my mom was calling him Mam Bisa. And Bisa is a tribe in Ghana. Ghana surprises me. And you know what? I love this song, Asida. Right? Because my uncle's name is in that song. Akoma. Ara. Do you know that song? If you're a Christian, you know that song. It's my uncle. And my mom, big brother. We will see in the slides just now. So I will say it so that I don't take too much of your time. That uncle of mine, you know what the village name is? He's the head chief. It's Ajuma. Ajuma. Ajumako. Right? Ajumakone, we call it. So I think that is the real name of Ajumako. Ajumakone. 400 years saved. And when I came to Ghana, they took me to the Yana. And when I went there, I hear that is called Tamale. But Tamale is a village in the river I was born, where Mungo is. Tamale. Come on. And I have relatives named called Damba. And I hear it's a festival. They are police officers. They have a village called Ofilaulo. Right? You Ghanaians amaze me. Right? And they are my relatives. And the name Boni, I didn't know it was from Ghana. Boni. Yeah? He was a fearless leader. She talked about him. And you know, he built a fort with an underwater bridge. And he called his fort Buku. And here is the river Buku. I thought it was out of book. And because the Africans could not pronounce book, so they say Buku. And it's only when I came here, Buku. And the creek is still there, we call it Buku. When you pass by, you don't talk. Because my grandmother's name and my paternal grandmother, is also a community of Ghana in the north. Tumu. That's my own grandmother's name. Tumu. Am I not more than you? I'm not more than you. We are one. It is this proof of how the Maroon community, as long as they leave slavery, they take their African name. Not only the Maroon did that, we have a street in Paramaribo called H.E.Fidelia Street. She bought herself freedom. And then the name they gave her when she lived in Freeman, right? There is where they gave them land for free people that could buy themselves free. Freeman is in Paramaribo. And you can see the name Afiyaba. And Afiyaba, is it not in Ghana? Right? Kofi Jompo, Kojo, Yao. And this Yao was a very handsome man. He was my mom's uncle, I hear. I never saw him. He was tall, and all the girls were in love with him. So if you're Yao, when I hear Yao, I look at you and I say, okay, is he handsome? And those girls look for him. Right? What plays a role in Suriname? The Africans were very smart. The flora and fauna of Suriname looks like Africa because it's in a green belt that runs from the west coast of Africa to the Guyanas. And Suriname is in the Guyana. So we have gold, we have diamond, we have bauxite, we have a lot. Only 7% is populated. So 93% is forest. But to me, when you go to my region, I was like, if I was a slave there, I would never run away. Because of the rapids, the waterfalls, the islands, and all the rocks, it was scary for me. But when I came to Ghana, when I saw the Akosombo River, and I saw the make of it, I was like, oh, that's why they knew how to handle the rocks. You know, going to my region, it will take you 3 days. And they walk to this region to free themselves. Where is the Wadamaya when it's in the middle, is the Suriname River. It's the upper Suriname River. The language that they spoke is not my language. I don't speak that language. We have 6 different kingdoms with 6 different languages. I don't speak my husband's language because he's a Matawai and he speaks mine. So I told him, you're the man, you should speak my language. That is for me to shy away because when I speak the language it's awkward. And one of the songs that Wunabaya had, it was not for the tribe that he was in the Samaka, it was the Matawai. They say, Ideno, out there, well, how are you? Hey, in the morning, we go and hug each other. Come, let me hug you. And I will tell you how we will say it. Atu. That is how we hug people in Suriname, in Maroon land. Atu. And if I love him, I will say Atu Busu. Right? Atu. And you see, when they go to pour, like they pour libation to the ancestors, and you know who they start with? Ago. Lecturers. Ago is mine. Right? Medasi is mine. And I was telling him, when I came to Ghana in 1997, I was saved because I was rebuking a cousin of mine that was using a word that I thought was satanic. And when he would call me in the morning, he would say that word and would say, in Jesus' name, I rebuke you. Right? And I came and I went to Elmina Castle Gospel Festival. And I heard the Gospel Festival MC say that word. I asked the interpreter, what does it mean? She said, the God that created everything. I said, what? And when I went to Suriname, I asked my cousin, a younger cousin, what does it mean? He gave me the same meaning. You pronounce it differently, but I'm telling everybody, we are the real one. 400 years ago to 300 years ago. It's Tue Jampo. Tue Jampo. We say Ke Jampo. And we say Insu is water. Pu Insu, we say it's swamp water, we say sea water. So Pu Insu is in there. Choco money, where does it come from? Choco. Choco money. Choco. It's a Ga word. When a money that is dirty. So you can hear how I call my younger siblings when they do things to me that are not good. I say choke face. Right? Choco is something that you did not get on the right way. And I heard a man say, I went to a Smera restaurant, and a man said Kaaba. And I asked him, what does it mean? He said, stop. I say, you steal another word of mine again. Right? Stop. So they still have the same meaning, and I think I've talked too long. And the last thing, this is fashion in my years. We call it alumakatu. And look what the Maroon women do to hold up their pangi. And that is alumakatu. That is fashion as well. And we put on beads in our hair, and cornrow, right? Is one of our fashionable things in our face, cover our face. So when you go to the maroon, Google Maroons of Suriname, and we cut our face, my grandmother, she had some cuts in her face, on her back, and around her navel, right? It was fashion in Maroon land. Right? So what we need to do for Africa, we never stop ourselves, call ourselves Africa. In Maroon land, we are Kang Africa, meaning we're pure Africa. So you dare not come to tell us we are not pure. So we are Kang Satu we Africa. Even young people are still saying it. It's that the way they refer to us. So Pan-Africanism started since Boni time, when he built his fort, that they cannot find up until today because the bridge was built underwater. And only the villagers know where that underwater bridge is up until today, about 300 years ago. Boni was very smart, he could kill. And you know the other one that signed a peace treaty on the 10th of October, we fought for it, it's you know what his name was? I hear. He's from the east of Ghana. Huh? Fabi Labi. He's from your hometown. So he was the first Gaman of the Okanisi tribe. And the one that could write was Ejako. And there is a whole village they call Kaya Pati, the river where Mr. Olemaya came. They are all Ajako. And one of the fearless chiefs called Iwan Ajako. So I didn't know that we sent the names to Africa again, to make sure we remain close. So villages like Tamale, names like Tumu, there are more. That my name Galon, I hear is from the Oti region. Oti. Galon is my grandfather's name. Yes, I did not know. It's only Ghana tells me. The other one that I don't want to hide from you is that, you see, medicinal knowledge is in a village called, Samuel, you still know the name? Okay, I will tell you the name later. But in this village, up until today, they don't allow, only black people can go into that village. Let me say that. Only blacks can go in that village. If you have a broken leg, they will cure it in 7 days using herbs. And the chicken, they will take it, break the leg, put the medicine. In 7 days, when it's cured, you are cured. I know it from close by. My brother was shot in his knees by my uncle in the night hunting. He thought he was, So, and he shot it with a gun, scattered. And within, they went to the doctor, and then they went to this herbalist. He stayed for 8 days in the house, and he could play football again. He was 23. And up until today, he can walk. And that is knowledge. That is equip him. And when we went there, they say we should not take picture of the leaves. But they don't know we have it in Dahomey. Dahomey is the village. The name. Village Dahomey. So if you go, they will allow you. I met a professor, he says he worked with others here in Ghana. He was the only one that they allowed to go into that village. But right now, we have a lot of gospel artists that we sing in our own language. And the Samaka people, I will sing that song because it comes with my heart. But I don't know how to sing. But it's not in the language that I speak, it's in the other language. Right? But I know that song. It said, me to you, no. Do are you. Masami kekulete mi do are you. And mi kaya ipasi, masa tutu e pipi. Masami kekulete mi do are you. Lord, I want to meet you. Even if I fall down along the way, you will lift me up. I want to run till I meet with you, Lord. It's a gospel song, right? In the Samaka language. All the languages have their song. Also the Creole language, which is the lingua franca. So if you want to speak with all Surinamese people, go to respect. Her language is the lingua franca of the country, right? I thank you, and God bless you.
Colleagues around, I want to present this token to you and to say that whenever you hold this, use it, or even admire it, don't forget about Central University. It's coming from our house. Thank you.
I believe he's the boss here. So in my language we say da, 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 da. So not da, da, yeah, da. His name is?
Dr. Entry.
Okay, da entry. God, tangi for you. Thank you very, very much. You see, when I heard Central University is a Christian-based university from a visionary leader that I've not met. What everyone might not know, I'm an ordained pastor. And for 24 years, I'm doing a program on the Shalom radio station of Suriname, 24 years now. So when I will tell them, in my program, I have 2 programs. One I'm not very active, and that is Women Today. Thank you, Central University, for using God's word to educate. And thank you for connecting culture. Culture is not just culture. Sometimes people think culture is fetish, but not that. It's how we communicate with respect to one another and the knowledge that have been created with the help of all created throughout the world. And Africa does best. Because I want to say, Twe Jampong, Medase Papa Pa, and Nyamen Shrao. I love it. I will put it on to show off. Thank you so much.
And cultural ties. And this topic is close to my own heart for many different reasons. Because today it is exactly today, 24th of April, it's exactly 10 years ago that I landed in Accra, Kotoka International Airport, and I came here to stay. I cry when I think about this. I came to stay. I work in Ghana, and there's one question that a lot of people has been asking me, beside the question, are you married and where you're from? The number one question that people are asking me is, why Ghana? Why did you choose to come here? Why did you choose to come here to a place where you don't know anybody, you don't have friends, you don't have family, you were not born here, you don't know the language, and you turned your back on Europe, and you came to stay here with us and suffer. That's some of the things that people have been telling me throughout the years. And to make you understand why I came here to Ghana, to stay with you and to suffer together with you, I need to tell you a bit about my roots. Both my parents are coming from a place called Suriname. That's how we Surinamese people call it. The English call it Suriname, but we call it Suriname. And can we go to the second, yes, thank you, the second slide, perfect. The Suriname is a republic in the northern part of South America, bordering the Caribbean Sea, in between French and British Guyana. And it has a population of more than 6,000 people, so it's not as big as Ghana. 600,000 people, thank you for the correction, Mami. And about 1/3 lives in the capital of Paramaribo. Can we go to the second slide already? Yeah. 1/3 lives in the capital of Paramaribo, and there's a tropical climate with 2 rainy seasons and a dry season. And it has a muddy coastline, a large rainforest that is divided by the Suriname River. It has many people from different ethnicities, such as the Creole, the Indians, the Maroons, the Indonesian, the Chinese, and the Native Americans. And therefore it also has many different languages. But the official language is Dutch. And the common language is Sranang Tongo. And that's a Creole language with English roots. Can we go to the third slide, the next one? I hope you can see it a bit clear. Now, like many societies in the Caribbean, Surinamese families are a mixture of different ethnicities because we come from different corners of the world. For example, this is a picture of my great-grandmother. This is a picture of my great-grandmother. You can see her here. With all her grandchildren. And this picture was taken in 1956. And my mother is standing here right here behind the flowers. So my great-grandmother, she had children with a Chinese man, and one of them became my grandmother, and she had also children with a Frenchman. So all of us are mixed. I did with my siblings a DNA test, and we found out that we have also before the arrival of the colonizers at the West Coast. But domestic slavery here on the continent was very much different than the slavery in the Americas. For instance, in the Gold Coast, people could become slaves after a war between tribes. They could speak the language, they may be able to speak the language and have the same cultural customs, and it made it easier to assimilate into a new environment. They were able to keep their names and their families, and at some point they could even become part of the master's family. In the domestic case, slavery could even be an answer to poverty, or a way to have protection if people didn't have a kin to belong to. Next slide, please. On the other side of the ocean, however, slavery in the Americas was very different.
Conversation in that language, or the Samaka, where Mr. Bodemaya went. I'm from the east, and there are 3 tribes, the Bonis, because Boni never signed a peace treaty with the white man, and Pamaka, and Okanisi. And then you have Samaka, Matawai, Quinty. The Quinty is the smallest and the most beautiful place to visit. The waterfalls there are just like the waterfalls. You see it from the stones and everything is just like here. I want to just mention something. I will take this off. This is called Angisa. Angisa. Angisa is made from a duku. Right? Yeah. This is the duku you make the Angisa with. And this has a meaning. Because those who did not run away could communicate with themselves, among themselves with this. You know what this means? Let them talk. Let them talk. You have one. When you have, they say they related to boyfriend and girlfriend, but I don't. Because they had their secret meetings. One is called Wait for Me at the Corner. Right? So they say it's when she explained, during slavery you cannot have your own husband or your own wife. So the only thing to communicate with is with the duku. And you say, wait for me at a corner. Might be a family meeting, might be another meeting, I don't know, please. And the others, I have the book, the Angisa book here. And it explains to you all the meaning. This one that you see is Africa. They call it Proisede. And that is peacock, the tail of the peacock. Meaning I still have my African pride. So whatever you can do with me, my pride, I never lose it. We don't have peacocks in Suriname, only in Africa. And you know, I have this book here. What do you read? Anansi. Do you think you told me the Anansi story? No. Anansi is my story. And this book is written by Mr. He lives in the Netherlands, Mr. Tomb. I met him and he gave me this book and I told him, please translate it into English. So the Ba Anansi, we even have more beautiful song about Anansi, right? Ba Anansi Tingeling, Amide Karwa Moy Mang. So Ba Anansi Tingeling, I'm a handsome man, right? And they have a lot of songs of Anansi. And this book is only in Dutch. So I will talk to you. We will connect with the writer to translate it, for the rights to translate it with your university. So you will be the first one. This one is a book written by a man called Pakosi. Andre Pakosi. He worked with universities here in Ghana. Look at his face. We have his video. And you know, he is like a very knowledgeable man. And I called him before I came here. And I say, Gantiu. Gan means big. Tiu means uncle. So I have to address him like that. He's an Okanisito. I say, you wrote this book. And I told him years ago, you write everything in Dutch. Please translate your stuff to English and French. And now he finally, after many, many years, agreed with me to have this book translated. And he says, if your university wants, he's ready to sign an agreement with you. That is Mr. Andre Mati Pakosi. That is his name. He's very well known in the Netherlands. And one thing we will talk about, then you can put it on. And then I will talk about it. Do you have the papers? And then I will stop there because there's so much to share with you. I don't know where to end, how to end it. Because I have to tell you this, where the apinti. Okay, apinti drum, you think it's yours? Yes. It's mine. That is how they freed themselves in Suriname. We still do the apinti. And Mr. Pakosi wrote about it and talked about it. So my PA wrote the English one, how it connects to Africa. I will give that to Madame Lisbeth, and then she can share it with you. While you're watching the video, is also underlined in English, but it's too small for me to read. So the Apinti Andre Pakosi, he's on YouTube. You can sign to his YouTube channel, and his maroon name is Mati. That is my friend, right? Mati. You can go further. Maybe they can play the drum. Okay, let's leave that. That is Gari. We call it Kwaka. We made the best one. My mom was #1 Kwaka maker. So when I came to Africa, is in 1997, I came with my gamams, 3 of them, and one that represented my gamam. We had to come, I'm a sociologist by profession, to see the similarities with chieftaincy in Ghana and in Suriname. I could find nothing. And sign, so we call it Adenka. So I believe that is the real one. You say Adenka, right? So you will see a lot of it. And this, thank you. This has meaning. Everything that we do, we communicate. And even the knot is communication. And you need to do it right, like this. This is right. If you do it differently, it is immensely rude. So this is called Kiyokoko. When you do Kiyokoko, meaning you know all the protocols. Wherever you go, you know how to behave. So if you know it, they see it in the way you do the knot. And you know, they formed a language called Kumanti from Kromantin, Amsterdam, Fort Amsterdam. And we still have the words. Like, I will sing a song. Medasho nanae, medasho nanae. Do you know that? These words. Thank you, Lord. Medasi and Nana. And when I go to do my agri, I will put the Kumanti Ana, meaning I'm going to fight in the farm. And nothing will fall. Right? You see, I can do it now, but before I could not do it when I was going to the university. I thought I was white. You understand? So this is Kumantiana. And you will see people at the marketplace doing it when they work. And now it became fashion. Right? And for the young girls, we call this pangi. The wrapping is pangi. When it's on my shoulder, it is putukele or kaiko. Right? What you do with this, make it have a meaning. And for the young girls, I will tell you something what we do. When you have your pangi on, it need not to cover the back of your knee. Because that is where all your private beauty is. For the Maroon community. People don't know it, don't tell anyone. Right? So, and when you got married, it has to come under. So you never, as a senior person, you never put on even a skirt or a dress that doesn't cover it here, because this is only for your husband to see. And when you're an old lady, you don't let anyone see it, so make it longer, like me. Right? So, and you put it, sometimes you put it on, and you put it on your shoulder as well. Right? It's for your shoulder as well. Why? When you sit down, you need to take it and cover yourself as a woman. And you never cross your leg as a woman, especially if you're young. In the village, if you cross your leg, they whoop you because you think of what you're not supposed to think about. Right? And everything that we do in Maroon land up until today is according to the African principles. A Gama was killed by another Gama because in 1762 he allowed the Moravian church to build their church in his region, and one of the other kings killed him because he said, "You betray us. We ran away from those people and you called them in." Right? And they made peace again. And the other thing is, in my region, as she said, I'm the first one, but the title is not masters, it's doctorandus. So people translate it to masters, but because the school system that the colonial leaders said there is you have a doctorate program, right? And they call it doctorandus. And then you have a doctoral program where you have the final PhD. So the doctorandus program is 3 years and masters is sometimes 1 or 2 years. And it's not that big. So I don't translate it to masters. It's not a correction to you, I just want to explain. In my region, because of what happened in the region where Mr. Modemaya went, where they started in 1760 with the Moravian church, and they teach you how to read, only to read the Bible. The eastern region says no. And one chief allowed in the 40s, the end of the 40s, to have a Moravian church, and they beat him up and left him naked. And then he had to move to another place, and he allowed the Moravian Church to come to that village for him and his family in the 50s, early 50s, in my region. So, closer to where I used to live, Mungo, we were not going to school. My father told my mom, if this girl is mine, she will never have white man's education. But African women are very smart, right? My mom wanted to go to school, but her mom told her, you have to do the farming good and take good care of children, so you're not going. Her father didn't want to. So when she gave birth to me in the Mungo hospital, she could not understand the Dutch that they were speaking. And she was 15 years old. Because it's the African way. Her parents decided for her who she would marry to. So when she was 9 years old, she told me, and my father was in his 20s. So when I was born, I believe he was 27, and my mom 15. I wanted to come to see the world and come to Africa and talk to you. Don't blame her. What happened? The nuns came to our village in the 50s, close to the 60s, to recruit children for their school that is only made for tribal living people. So the level was way below the normal level. And when the nun came, my father was out doing his African thing, hunting and everything. He was not in the village. So my mom did have my dress. And she came and she was like, can she go to school? How old is she? 5 years old. Yes. And there I went. When my father came home, it was trouble. And I had the African way from my father and my mom and the other one. And when I was 9 years old, my father said, girls are not supposed to go to school. You will write letters to boys and we won't know and we won't be able to control it. Give me driver's license lesson. Read it and translate it to our language. So I start from the age of 9 not knowing how to speak Dutch. But we did it for 6 years and he got his driver's license. And throughout the years, I became the first one to graduate from the university. I never thought university was for people like Madame Chanamel, and it's a very well-known name in Suriname. You have Chanakon, Chanamel, Tanakiam, Chanafong. So Chinese came to Suriname by the colonial leaders, and they went to a district called Koroni, and they had children with the African ladies over there, and they gave their names to those children. That's why you can be black and have a Chinese name. So a lot of us have Indian name too, and we have a lot of African names too, and Dutch and English names. We are all mixed up. The fashion that I want to tell you about again, so let me put on another one. This is for my legs, right? It's made by a maroon woman in Suriname with her own hand using a bottle, right? It's to show you that my legs are beautiful, right? But I won't put it on because if it looks ugly, you will laugh at me. This is called Kawai. When we dance the Pinti drum, Samuel, maybe you can put them on for me. That's what I will put. Kawai. Kawai. So you see, I'm more from the north, right? Not too tight. When we do the dance and the rhythm, you need to hear it with my legs. It's two, we call it Kawai. So if I do the awasa, I do it like this. Because I'm a woman, when I give you, it will tell me, come to me, wakako, wakako. So I do this. I come to is the drummer, and I will do this. And then he will tell me, dance, let me see what you can do. Then I will go like this. And I have to smile all the time. And I will put my leg like this, so you can see the beauty of my ugly legs. Right? Sorry. Right? And then the topic was, what are the similarities that we have? We have the kente as well, but we don't do it with the wheels, right? This is all, we call it H.E.Fidelia. And Mr. Pakosi say it comes from Osei Sante. Osei Sante. So we call it H.E.Fidelia. Right? And because they didn't have the wheel, when you love someone, you make it. So I got this from one of my spiritual daughters when I was coming, because it takes time. And they modernize it, because before they would not have this. But what they do, there are a lot of innovations. And you give it to your husband or the boyfriend you love, you take your time and give it to him. This is also a denka for Satanda, and they show you how life looks like. We all belong to one another. We all communicate. So these are communication signs. Don't ask me what it really means, because I didn't ask the maker of it. Right? I hear again, this is a Dinka from the north, royalty. And I called the maker of it, because I got it as a gift. And I say, what does this mean? Because I said this belongs to royalty. She said, oh, we young people call it Nederlandy. Because when you live in Holland, you're royal, you're wealthy, you're good. And I was like, oh my God, but this is royalty. So someone that is royal, you have enough money and you're strong enough to have it. So they call it Nederlandy. That is Samaka. But the other tribes can have another meaning for it. I don't know. But this is pure northern Ghana. Didn't know it? A northerner told me. This is called Angisa. And when SDG came, the Ministry of Regional Development, where they work with the different tribes, use it as a program to promote sustainable development. And they translated it into the language, but it belongs to the tribe of the Sarmaka. My tribe does it differently, but this is now very popular. Everybody puts it on, and it always has something to say. So sometimes, if the university wants to do a program, you can ask them, and they will do it and translate it to their language. The language it is translated in G.A. Woko Anta Kisembe, which is Samaka. I've tried to do the accent. Woko Anta Kisembe. That is for agriculture and everything. Say, when you work, it does not kill you. Keep on working. So when you get your assignment, students, work on it. You won't die. Lecturers, you agree with me. So they need to have this. Woko Antaki Sembe. This one is the H.E.Fidelia again from the Samaka. This is for your shoulder. And when it is in Samaka, they call it Banja Kosu. That is not my language. In my language, we call it kaiko. Right? And even the church people, when I became ambassador in 2007, I got it from the Maroon women in church. And look at the message here. This is from since 2007. You see the spirit, and you see where we get our food from. Nature, we are one. Right? So, the big I have this one. I bought this in Kenya, but it looks like us. The river where my ancestors went to is called Njuka. And I had a Cameroon man in the office, and he says, my last name is Njuka. And I say, oh, you people in Africa stealing all our names. Njuka. And I was doing a presentation in Trinidad and Tobago. Then I was the dean of the diplomatic corps. And I said, let us work together for Pan-Africanist reason, the decade of people of African descent. And then I spoke at the end, and I said, be Jaja, as we say it in Suriname. And a Nigerian man came to me and he says, Ambassador, that is Yoruba. Jaja was a king that would kill with his bare hand. And I was like, okay. I went to Kenya again. And the lady that came to pick me up, I asked her, what is your last name? She says, Maina. I was like, oh my God, is my husband, grandmother, younger sister named Maina, and she's still alive, almost 100 years old. I recently went to South Africa. Surprised me the most. And when the king, I had some young kings came to me for my birthday. And on the 8th of April. And then we talked. And one of them said, I'm Pedi. I said, how can you be Pedi? Pedi is one of the clans of the Okanisi tribe. And that island is called Tabiki. That is island, Tabiki is island. And people cannot go there. When they bought more slaves, big men, to capture the Maroons, the Pedi people captured them. And the guns are still there of the Africans that they used as intruders. And I forgot to tell you something. This is for the Creole and this is for the Maroon women. They didn't have time to do the duku like this, but they do the duku like this. So that is why, as a Maroon girl, I'm still a young girl, right? We have named all over the African countries. There are more words that is in this book that I recommend for you to translate to English that are amazingly. You see, my husband's grandmother's name was Dede, and we would fight because I married her husband and she has to make sure that I take care of her husband. That is African way. We don't have nieces, nephews, or cousins. We have sisters, we have brothers, we have fathers, and we have leaders, right? So if I say he's my son, he's my sister's son too. It's my brother's son. It's all of us our sons. He can put him if he. And another village is called Mposu from Mpraisu. Mposu.
All right, Your Excellency, thank you very much for this. I am so amazed that I saw an ambassador actually dressed as you are, and I wish that Ghanaian ambassadors will go out there and sell our culture like that. My question is, as an ambassador and I am a promoter of Pan-Africanism, what are you doing to erase the lines between the native Africa and then Suriname, that is claiming to be the Africa that taught us everything? In the visa system, in everything, what are you doing to clean the line so that the connection will be one?
Things like this. I'm in a lot of interviews to talk about Suriname and about all Pan-Africanism. All the African Surinamese are Pan-Africanists, right? And what I'm doing, as maybe I should not say it, but let me say it. I'm a Pan-Africanist activist. So I started Maroon Women Network in 2000, and we are fighting for the land rights, for chieftaincy, and we won. I was working on the background because then you just fight for rights, and internationally they got the rights, but now politicians are working on getting it done for the regions based on the intellectual, not only intellectual property, but the rights for property, where you live and the land that you have lived on for 300 years. You need to have some rights, right? Together with the government, Suriname is now working to get that done. The other thing that I'm doing, maybe we could sit and talk. Right now, I'm representing the whole of Suriname. I used to be an activist, right? And we did the Pangi. I used to hold a Pangi festival for HIV/AIDS with a Adenka sign of Kotikutu, that is X, and
You know, as she spoke and hearing all the comments that were made out of excitement, I was just reflecting. Africans, those of us on the continent, we are sometimes quick to abandon our identity. We're in a hurry to drop our languages, we are in a hurry to drop our clothing, the food we eat. We are happy to embrace other cultures. It's not as if it's wrong, it's not wrong, but it's not wrong to embrace other cultures, it's good. But we cut off who we are. And so we become everything external, but nothing internal. And we are all excited when she was showing us these pictures, showing us these pieces of clothing, talking about these names. Wow, we're just excited. You know, the diasporans, Africans in the diaspora seem to be embracing their African identity. And we are happy to hear her telling us all of these things, but we are losing it. Those of us on the continent, we appear to be losing it. So we are on the mainland. Once upon a time, they were here. They stepped away, they were taken away. They did not go on their own volition, they were taken away. That is a different conversation. We'll deal with that at another time. But after all these years, hundreds of years, they have kept this identity. What does it say about us, those of us here? There's something for us to think about. If they are proud of what was given to them by their fathers, by their mothers, what about those of us who are living here now? It is for us to reflect. We obviously need to develop a sense of identity. We need to be more serious about who we are. We need to embrace our Africanness a little more than we are doing. And you know, as she spoke, at some point we could hear traces of Ga, traces of Ewe, traces of names from the northern Ghana, Akan. Everything is embedded in this African identity. So we need to cut off that whole ethnocentric tendencies where we identify as people from just unique areas. This is Ghanaian, this is Nigerian, so we are different. This is Kenyan, this is somebody, so we are different. Asante, Ewe, and all. She's everything African. We could see that in her presentation, and we were happy to see her talking about all of these different elements. So if we are happy to receive her, the full package, why do we have to draw up lines to separate and divide us? It is something for us to think about ourselves as Africans. If we cannot love ourselves as Africans, if we cannot plant this unity, how can we expect others to show us respect? So whilst she went through all these presentations, showing us all these artifacts, we were just excited about all of these. But beyond this meeting, people, we need to realize that we have a responsibility to protect our identity. We have a responsibility to protect our identity, and we need to challenge this cultural imperialism. It's good to be I'm a sociologist, and every day I would embrace the fact that we have encountered different cultures. Yes, by all means, that is what will make us global citizens. So it's good. We need to know what is happening elsewhere. We have encountered other cultures. That is great. But that does not mean that we should lose what we have. So we appreciate you, and above all, we thank you so much that you've stayed. That shows how excited we are about this afternoon program. And our brother Clement, the MC. Clement, please come. I'm sure if you don't know him, he's the faculty officer for CBS. So he's not even from FAS, but he's our brother. So our brother, thank you so much that you also held this program, MC this program for us. God bless you. So please come, every one of you, please come.
Well, it's such a pleasure to sit in and to listen to this lecture. And I was telling myself when I was approached to by Elizabeth about this lecture, I was thinking, should I or shouldn't I? Should I approve or shouldn't I approve? I didn't hesitate for a moment to say, why not? Let us come. Let's listen to this lady, Her Excellency from Suriname. I think I've gotten it right. And also because I have been very much involved in internationalization of our curriculum, and we have our students going to other countries, and I have been thinking, sitting down here, why not Suriname next time, and to also see how we can work with higher institution in Suriname, exchange students and faculty, and enrich our curriculum.
Around business If you're a student leader, when you come, please let me know so that you can have That's very good. The largest are from my home country.
My assistant is from your home country. Yes, Latin. So that's why I call you Chief.
Yeah, so when you talk about broken bones and
Jessica.